Sorry we were a little late.
No, it's totally fine. I was actually worried. I'm like, holy crap, I hope the roads weren't terrible. In our defense, we found some really cool rocks. Yeah, it's also why we're down here. We have an entire pickup truck loaded with rocks.
Yeah, we went Jade hunting, and we've been talking about it for a long time, and it was like 8 kilometers off the road. And we're like, oh, it'd only take a minute.
You know, it's roads like this that make me miss logging. Like, this is why I love logging. This is why I want to build logging trucks that can handle this kind of stuff. This is what I enjoy doing probably more than anything else in the world. This is where we did all the low bedding with Old Blue. So you can imagine a truck from the 60s trying to move a piece of machine, and the machine weighs 100,000 pounds up this grade. She was a hard pull. Okay, so this area had a devastating flood a few years back. You can see where everything flowed down. And even in this slide, if you look down here, pieces of jade. Now, I'm not sure if it's jadeite, serpentinite, what kind of jade it is, or if it's just really, really green rock at the end of the day. But that's really cool. We took some pieces last time I came up here to a person, and they said it was jade, and they're kind of an expert, but it's not like I have these professionally assayed.
That's gotta be Jade.
It's jade, yeah, that's the jade. Like, Hope is one of the best jade producing areas of the entire province, I think. So those wondering, how do we take rocks off the ground? So we had to apply for what they call a free miner's license, which costs $25 and isn't free. But that essentially, like, tell you can't stake a claim, but you can grab rocks on the surface of this area. We looked at this area, there wasn't really a claim on it, so we can grab some surface rocks. We're not doing any extrusive mining, we're just picking up rocks, so that is totally okay in BC. But this isn't the boulder. The one we found was way bigger than this one. This is jade, like and it's not bad jade, but that's not the big one. So we kind of found where the big giant jade boulder rock is, and it looks like somebody took it out. There's been an excavator in here, it's been taken out. There's a lot of little pieces of jade around, but the giant boulder is unfortunately gone. I mean, that thing's, I kind of told millions of people that there was a giant jade boulder in the mountains of Hope. Probably should have kept that one a secret.
I remember in the comments, people were like, Chase, why are you saying that? Someone's gonna go out there and take that boulder.
Someone took the boulder. Someone took the boulder. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. Some nice rocks here. I mean, there's still some really good rocks left behind, even though they took the big one. Oh, look at the color on this guy right there.
I don't know, that one's pinned under there though.
Yeah, that is a beautiful one. I could help him, but it's easier to film. Seen the muscles on there? You can see he's got it. Okay, I think what we're gonna do, this big rock here, the winner of the adult version of the EV challenge is getting a giant chunk of jade as a prize. It's either the greatest prize or the worst prize, but this is what you get for a prize at the Edison Motors Challenge.
We're not actually sure of the value, but it's cool, and it looks like good jade.
I mean, it could just be low-grade, cheap garden jade that you put in your garden as an ornament, but it's still kind of cool, and it's a big rock, and big, cool rocks are awesome, so you get a big, cool rock that we went and got in the woods as a prize.
And now Chase has volunteered me to help him carry that freaking rock to the truck.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to lift this myself. So this is like a 200-pound rock. Good luck whoever wins.
Oh, man.
Well, if you want to hold that, I'm just going to do the
we should bring the truck over.
Yeah, that's way smarter. Sitting there struggling with the rock, realize we parked the truck 20 feet away. 3, 2, 1. Put it on this tailgate. Bumper. Okay, I got it on bumper. Take a breather. 3, 2, 1. Got it.
Effort went into this.
There was effort into this prize. Maybe we'll get it a nice little like engraving on it or something.
Oh. We're actually going to a meeting right now.
Yeah, we gotta go meet with a potential customer now about buying a truck or doing a trailer or something.
We're like little kids, just show up dirty.
Sorry, there was rocks.
Found a cool rock on the way.
This big rock is still here. It's just hidden behind the trees.
That is a giant, giant boulder of jade.
That is cool.
Like, oh, you can really see it if I hold it. Shine the camera up to the light.
It's the side of the mountain. It's just jade. Whoa.
Oh, I mean, it's all jade. High quality jade. Like I can. This is the better stuff. You can see right through that. Like that's completely translucent.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, this is cool.
This stuff is way better. This is where the good stuff was.
Got a good haul.
Got a good haul.
The old 2500 HD will have the Carolina squat going through Vancouver here.
Because of rocks. I want a rock.
I swear, come back here middle of the night, that could grab some jade. Or maybe he'll let us borrow it. Right now we're going to go meet TYCROP. What they are is a trailer manufacturer. And what we're hoping to learn is a little bit of manufacturing techniques. See how the big guys that have been established, how do they set up their manufacturing? See what we can learn from trailer manufacturing and apply it to our truck manufacturing as we go forward. It's an educational trip, really. Okay, we're here at TYCROP and we're looking at how they manufacture trailers and see what we can learn. So when we moved in here in 2015, there was essentially nothing in this building. So we were able to lay it out exactly the way that we wanted to. Nice. So everything flows from here through to a completed product at the end of the building.
So this is where it starts?
This is where everything starts. On the right-hand side of the production line, there's all of the component pieces are being built there. They're being built, put together, and then brought over to the line. And then as the trailer goes down the line, any of the material that they need to work in that bay, we've set up in the Kanban bins on the side. So the folks working there, it's easy to grab everything right there using really clear identification, like in-process Kanban spots.
Oh, okay. So you put
when we need something for the line, the folks from the warehouse will know exactly if anything needs to be replenished. So as soon as they're finished plumbing and putting everything on that chassis and it's getting moved over to the line, these pieces will have been pulled out, moved over there, and the warehouse checks the schedule, checks what needs to be done, fills these pieces again. It prevents from having to overstock anything that you're doing at any one time. We don't need 40 of these set up. The chassis get made here. So we do, like, we bring in the extrusions from suppliers that we work with, raw material suppliers, but we do all of the welding and everything like that in-house. We make as many of the parts as we can in-house. So, and you can see everything sort of stacked up on the shelves.
Yeah.
Like 2-bin system. So Kanban's a fairly common lean manufacturing system. We employ it throughout the building.
What is Kanban?
So Kanban is it's a lean manufacturing technique that it's 2 bins. So you'll notice on all of the shelves over here, or even where there's a pallet, like there'll be one set for something that's staged, one set for something that's being pulled. So when that pallet is empty, the next pallet gets put into place and you pull from that. It just keeps as much material as you need. So as soon as you finish with one bin or pallet or whatever you've designated, there'll be a card. That card goes to the warehouse and it gets put on the board to be ordered. The purchasing department comes down and then you only order as fast as you're using material. So you're not ordering all the time. It lets you be flexible with how quickly you're building something. So you can adapt your inventory level to the speed at which you're sending something out the end.
That's smart, because we were wondering, like, our trucks are going to be so custom, where, like, do we spec out a truck and then have it, and, like, how do we make sure that each truck is going to have the same parts? So if we use something like that, we could literally reorder them as we deplete them.
Yes. So for things like that, like for things that are really, really commonly used, we have those on the shelf. There will be things, if they're more custom, they may have to be ordered. And then say a trailer that uses all components that we have set up, because we have a fairly good idea of what the range of standard components would be.
So we can keep a fairly flexible inventory to accommodate, you know, a fair number of options. Not 100%, but those, you know, the 80-20 rule. So we can capture 80% of what the customers need with what we have here. The other 20 that goes outside of it, we'll have to do something a little different.
That's
like,
cool.
we don't have red bumpers.
Yeah.
We've got gray bumpers. That's
I'm not
the
gonna lie,
standard.
the
but
red
we
looks
can do
really
we can
good.
do red.
The red
and the
looks really
and the
good.
suspensions don't come in red either. But we can do red.
So you set them off,
so
paint it.
so that then is not a standard. It needs to follow a different process. We can do it. It just goes through a bit of a different system to do that.
Cool.
So it might not be the next one that's available, depending on how your system is set up. But they all use these panels. They all use that end extrusion for the doors with the hinges on it. So these we know they're going to use. So this we can order.
You know exactly everyone's going to have the same.
So they all use more or less the same floor drive. So we have those in stock, and the suspensions. Like the suspensions are pretty much standard. So that's easy to do.
Cool.
Yeah, and
That
then
makes sense.
so like a smaller, more workable version of Kanban. All of the hardware in the facility is managed through, like, it's all vendor managed.
Okay.
So Fastenal, they have folks that come through. When something's empty, it's up there. So we don't order it. Fastenal takes care of all of that for us. So it's one less thing that we have to do.
We've been really recommended by everyone to go to it, because sending the parts guy down, like, one of our biggest things in the last production was we were constantly running out of bolts.
Yeah, and it's like, if you're able to get a company to do vendor managed inventory for you, it's expensive to set up, say at the beginning when you're buying all of the things to get it set up, but the fellow working here, he just walks up, grabs that, and away you go, right? You're not, there's no running around to try and find things. But like even in-house made parts, right? So there'll be 2 spots for every part. So here's the last one here. This will have a card. When it's done, they'll pull the card, put it at the warehouse. For these parts here, when these are done, there'll be a rack that's associated with this.
Yeah.
But when this is done and it needs to be ordered, I'll take this to the warehouse and put it on the warehouse. Then they know it has all the information on here for the supply chain to order it. So this one happens to be made in-house, but we have an alternate supplier in case we can't make it in time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So part supplier thing, alternate.
Yeah,
so you have.
So we make it internally, but if we can't, we know who to get it from if we can't do it ourselves.
That makes sense. I like that. What we were doing is basically kind of the same thing. And I got a big thing where I buy every part from, and like, level 1, get it from the supplier. Level 2, order it from Amazon. Level 3, go to this guy.
Yeah. Well, but that's how you develop your supply chain. So I mean, this has been something that we've worked on, like, over time.
Oh yeah, and you got your workflow thing.
Yes. So
Laid
every
out.
bay, they'll have these are the activities that take place in this bay. This is how long they take. So you can break everything down by bay that needs to be done.
Oh yeah. So you see, mount box, 4 hours. Alignment, 2.
Yeah.
Tires, install tires, 4 hours. 2 hours. That's cool. So you can see exactly.
Right? So now you can adjust that as you need to for the different activities you have, but it lets you load balance the work down your line so that you know exactly sort of what's going on. They're laying out all of the cross members here. So they've got a jig for where they lay everything out. So the chassis, they're putting all the A&E and everything through. Once this is all prepped and plumbed and done, the box is going to get constructed here. So they're going to lay out the floor and everything. The walls are already made there. So we'll be able to bring the box together. And then when it's ready to go, they'll take the box and the chassis and put them on the line and put them together.
So they're going to build the floor. They build the walls. Then they put the walls onto the floor.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing goes onto the chassis with the axles.
And then at the front station there, they've got another fellow working there doing the front wall and the back doors. So everything is broken down into components of what you need to do, and then that feeds the line, and then the line does everything else. And there'll be a production number for each one of these trailers, both on a digital schedule and also on the line in a book. And then from there, like, they'll be able to tell exactly what it is that they do. So it'll have all the drawings that they need and all of the information for this particular trailer.
Giant IKEA sets.
Yes, yes, and then hopefully we do it slightly better than IKEA so that the folks here don't have a problem putting it together.
That must be a ton of work to put together a wall like this.
Yeah, so again, like over time, we've figured out the best way to break down all of that, like how to lay them out, which steps to do, because we've been building this style of trailer for a very long time, right? But it's iteration after iteration after iteration, right? It's the idea that you're in a state of continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a fancy landing leg setup, right? Look at that. That thing is skookum. Holy.
Yeah, and when you see them broken, you go, how did you do that?
No kidding. Like compared to what like I was on a highway trailer,
right?
Like that is beefy.
Well, these are definitely, they get used for sure.
Yeah.
Right? We have customers
they're taking these things into the bush now.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just like hauling chips on the highway.
No, we have a number of customers that use them for construction debris, like municipal waste. Like depending on the floor that you put in them and the different options that you have for top rails or suspension, tires, our customers use them for a wide variety of products.
That's a solid handle.
Little push, little pull. There you go.
I have never figured out how the hell these walking floors work.
So in the center, you'll see a row of bolts that go across sort of at the midline there.
Yeah.
Actually, take a look. You can see the floor drive. So the floor drive sitting on the floor has three. The floor drive sitting on the floor over there has 3 crossbars on it.
Yeah.
Those each have a series of holes drilled in them that correspond with one of the slats on the trailer. So the drive has a cylinder for each one of those cross members as well. So what happens is when you're loading the trailer out, you have the whole floor moving at the same time. When it goes to reset, those cross members drive back one after the other, but they're only attached to every third slat. So when it slides back, the whole floor is not sliding back at the same time. It slips only a part of the floor back. So there's not enough friction to drive the load in the reverse, like in the direction that you don't want to move the, because you can use them to load. So you can use them to drive forward or drive backwards, depending on how you want to use it.
That's cool.
Yeah, they'll slip underneath the load and then all move together in the direction that the load is supposed to go.
Cool.
Yeah. And then again, again, for this, like the type of floor slat you put in.
How long does it take for you guys to fully build a trailer, start to finish?
I think right now, we're on a 4-day tack.
4 days?
So every 4 working days, one will go out the end.
4 days.
When we're not as busy as we have been in the past. When we were busy in the past, we would do one every 2 working days.
Wow.
So you've got 3 bays here. So it takes a while for one to, when you prime the line, it takes a few days for it to work all the way down. But once you have the line primed, every 2 working days, there's a trailer going out the end.
How many people work on building these trailers? I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do you do it? Because this isn't really, this isn't a big shop for as far as manufacturing.
Well,
goes.
no,
that's impressive.
Manufacturing's about managing the resources that you have. So, people are a resource, space is a resource, time is a resource. So, how many shifts of people do you need working? Do you have to run 3 shifts? Do you have to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Can you work 12 hours a day, 5 days a week? So that's part of flexing it too. We try and adjust based on our orders to how fast the line moves. And we know essentially how many hours go into a trailer. So we know how many people we'll need to get the work done over that many days.
Okay.
Right. So if we're moving faster, we'll need more people on this line. And then we try and balance it between the production lines that we have. So we have 3 production lines. So we hope that, you know, like if this one slows down, maybe that one's picking up over there so we can move people laterally in the building and cross-train so that you're not laying people off, hiring people, laying people off, hiring people. So that's part of the strategy too. And part of the reason why we want to expand the line of products that we're working on in the types of industries we're working in makes us more robust so that we're not weathering the ups and downs. I mean, you work in the wood fiber industry, you know what it's looking like.
Yeah.
You know, every other week another mill is going to close or might close or it's going into shutdown mode or
Yeah, exactly.
the amount of trees that we can take out of the bush this year is different than last year or maybe next year. So,
Yeah.
you know, we try and minimize the amount of disruption externally by, you know, diversifying what you do. So we've tried to apply the same process, the same theory of manufacturing across the shop. So despite the fact that these look different, we're doing it in the same manner. So building the components on this side of the production line, feeding the production line with the major components needed at the various bays, and then staging the material to the side of the production line so that it's ready for when they need it.
This is cool to see. I was literally wondering how you guys move this stuff.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where everything old is new again.
Yeah.
So we used to use this punch here behind us to punch the walls. And years ago when we were building walls, we did it with this jig where everything was laid out flat and then you stood it up and popped the rivets. And we found that building walls was one of the bottlenecks for being able to speed up and slow down our line. Well, not so much slow it down, but definitely to speed it up.
Yeah.
So we went back to an old style jig to do our walls, and it reduced the amount of time that we needed to spend making them. And again, so everything is broken down into major subcomponents. So the top rail will get made here. They'll plumb it with all of the electrical and everything they need here. And then once it's ready to go, when this one leaves the line, they'll lift this one up over to go and onto the trailer.
Okay, so build them all. How do they get that onto the trailer then? You see.
Yeah, so once all of the pieces are riveted together and it's one fixed piece, then there's a frame at the top of the wall you can see that's clamped to the top. So we'll put a clamp on it. You just lift it up with the crane and put it over there and stack it, strap it, and it's ready to go for the next one. So again, this one follows the same path. Starts down at the end with prepping the chassis with all of the air and electrical and everything that you need, and then adding the components as you move it down the line. So, and then, I mean, these are the ones that you're probably fairly familiar with. So this is a Western quad. It's a 4-axle version for going cross-border. Washington has different bridge laws there for weight. So 4th axle on the back for the cross-border. It's becoming a more popular model these days with just how much fiber is moving back and forth across from Washington. But yeah, all tipper, flow through. So a bit of a different setup.
Man, one thing I noticed, you guys are always sweeping this floor. Everywhere, every space has got a guy.
We're getting close to the shift change. So part of keeping the shop safe is keeping it clean, keeping the clutter off. So you take that last just little bit at the end just to keep the clean. And it wasn't because they knew you were coming today.
No one cleans on ours.
Again, like here, as they build the components, they'll put them on these racks here.
Yeah.
So the front walls and the rear doors will get made and put here. And then that's just a signal for the line that this is done, it's also a signal for those people you don't have to build another set. So when you fill the wall stand with walls, you know you're done.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
so again, you know, building things for 40 years, you learn some things. One of those things that you learn is if you have somebody who's really good at building, say, side rails, well, they might be able to build the side rail faster than the line is using them. So then they're just off to build the next one, build the next one, build the next one. They're not building to the production line. So
we had that happen where we told the guy just to make on our light towers, the top mast. We're like, okay, just keep making masts. All of a sudden we turned around and he's made 32 masts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You're like,
oh, we only
holy,
needed 15. That's way too many.
So so we learned the same thing too. So this type of production system is set, it's a pull system, so everything's being pulled. When that trailer gets pulled out the back, this gets pulled into the next space, the walls get pulled onto the production line. So the speed of the production line is driving the rate at which everything is happening in the building.
Okay.
So rather than how fast somebody can build a set of walls or towers or masts or whatever, it's how do we need them in line with how fast the finished product is going out. And that's how you can flex your labor too, right? So you can flex somebody from this space into that space depending on their skill set. So cross-training is also huge because if, say, you needed something done in, where you were only using 2 sets of parts in 20 hours, but one person can build one set in 10 and another set in 10. If you train them to do both and they're just flexing from one build to the next, then you have the right pace for your line and it's not 2 people, you can get it done with 1, right? Because, I mean, it's a very competitive market that we're all working in. So we have to be cognizant of how many people are you bringing on, because the worst thing is to hire a bunch of people to do work and then not be able to sustain it. So that's, you learn that over time as well too. And then, it's great to
put little notes on there as you're working.
Yeah, I've seen the erasable felt pen. You just have to make sure that when you get to the very end of the line before you deliver it to the customer, you've wiped off all of the notes. But yeah, so part of it is every trailer that goes down the line will have a book. This is all on a schedule. So the people who are ordering the parts, the people who are planning where the parts go, the warehouse, production, this is the Bible. So this will have all the information in the system.
What is this thing?
So this is a chassis for a lead trailer for a chip train.
Oh,
so this, like these ones here, they're a 1-unit trailer. So the possum bellies are 53 foot. So this one will be the lead, and then the pup will connect into it.
Okay, right? And then you attach all the aluminum parts. Because I was trying
Correct.
to figure out, I'm like,
so
the 5th wheel for
so
way.
these ones get steel chassis. So there's the pup trailer that'll go with it. So I really hope I'm right, because if I'm wrong, I'm going to look really bad. Oh, 3 axles, there we go. Lead trailer, 3 axles. There's your pup right there with 2.
Oh, lead pup.
So the way that this one will work is on these ones, they'll be building the side rails there, you can see. And what you do is you attach the side rail here, and then at the front of the trailer, you'll have a steel coupler. So the trailer essentially is just, it's empty in the middle, and it's bridged with that side rail that connects here up through down the side, and then up to the steel coupler at the front of the trailer. That steel piece and the chassis is what holds the trailer together with your top rail and your cross members, but that's it. And then it's just a big span in the middle holding the load.
And on a Super B, it's steel for this part, whereas I noticed the other axles are bolted onto the aluminum I-beam.
So these ones, the possum bellies, get the aluminum chassis. So these ones we can do an aluminum chassis with, based on how this trailer is constructed.
Well, that looks like an American trailer, so I imagine weight's more of a...
yeah, just Canada, the United States, it doesn't matter. So for these ones, even if we were building a 3-axle version, we would still be using the aluminum chassis. It's more cost effective. It's lighter. It's better for the customer. Uses the same materials that we're using on a 53-foot trailer over there. So
that's what
we
we're
know
really
it'll
trying
work.
to figure out is aluminum. We need to make a lot more aluminum because we made our whole cab, fenders, hood out of steel, and the weight is just okay. That's a heavy.
Yeah.
You gotta get somebody that's really good at aluminum to remake cab, hood, fenders.
Well, gentlemen, that's where we can help. Yeah, because we do a lot in aluminum. So these are still made by us. The steel is still made. The chassis are made in Rosedale. But, I mean, we've been working in this shop since 2015. So if we were doing steel fabrication in here, there's no way it would look as nice as it does now. You know, you weld steel. Even if you do have great ventilation, it doesn't matter. It's black. It's smoky. That's
Aluminum not? I've never really.
So we do so we do welding right here on the line. Like all the chassis are welded there. Those folks, they weld the rails right there. So we have the air handling system here and there between the lines, but that's it. But they're welding. Those walls get fully welded. The top rails, the rear post,
there's no smoke because I've been in welding shops and you can tell it's a welding shop.
Yes.
If I walked in here, I would just assume you guys didn't do any welding here.
Yes, and that's
you
you
betcha. Nice. Right on. Thanks, man.
See?
Thanks.
Yeah. There you go. I didn't know that you had a fan here. Yeah, we'll get them to sign autographs later.
I follow him on TikTok there.
Oh, there you go. How about that?
Yeah.
You got fans everywhere.
Oh, we do. We really do. I think people are just following along the journey as we figure out. They're like, oh, how are they going to figure out this next challenge?
Well, yeah. So we have a small parts making department here for ourselves, but we have the pieces of equipment that we need that facilitates what we do in here. Like all of the Kanban parts that you see on the shelves, we bring in the material, we can cut them ourselves, and so it's a really short turnaround from material to shelf for us. And this is, you know, when we got set up, we tried to be as lean as possible. Like, how big a table do we need? How big are the parts that we're going to do? So the brake and the table accommodate the vast majority of the things that we need here at this time. We brought a set of rollers in from our facility in Texas when we were doing the sand trailer. So we're starting to prep the line now to do the next run of sand trailers. So we're bringing the jigs back in, starting to get it changed up. This line, so this is for the chassis that we're building for Escape Trailers, for their RV trailers. It's a local RV trailer manufacturer, and they are putting an aluminum chassis under their new 23-foot trailer. And they are partnering with us to do the chassis fabrication for them.
Yeah.
So it's just like we're working with new companies, doing new things, new processes.
Cool. That is really made in Canada then.
Yeah.
Great.
So it's right here in Chilliwack. They do all of the other work there. Like all the cabinetry is custom. They do it there. They build all the things they need at their facility, do their own fiberglass work. And we're providing them with the chassis. So yeah, it's a made in Chilliwack RV. So
cool. That's awesome. I love seeing more Canadian things built right here.
Yeah, let's build it all here.
We should.
Yeah, why not?
More here.
We have the people.
Actually build it here, not just.
Yeah, not just say we do. Let's do it. And then at the end, we have a project that we're working on with Propel, our oil and gas sister company. They're building mobile power generation trailers, and they need aluminum enclosures to drop down over top of the equipment on the trailer. Yeah. So these are the various enclosures that need to be set down on the trailer.
So these are like some of your contracting.
Yes. So this would be the work that we're doing. Probably, Corey, the guys from Edison Motors.
Oh. Hey, how's it going? Good. Oh, right on. Nice.
See? Yeah. The guys know. I'm just coming up to speed. These are the guys you gotta. In fact, it was one of the guys in the shop that said, reach out to, what are they doing? So that's
and that's convenient because we were just trying to figure out, how are we going to build these at volume?
Right.
We can't have my dad stick weld in every single truck that rolls off the
No,
line.
I mean, that's okay for prototyping and maybe like pre-production models where you're proving the concept.
Yeah.
Because until you get everything figured out, it's really hard to rush into mass production, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to, it's okay to maybe take a little bit of time to get those first few figured out, because as soon as you press the button and hit go, I mean, okay, it depends on what your production rate is, right? But if you hit go and you're building a lot of them and then realize, oh no, wait, we actually need to do this at this stage of production, it becomes a lot more cumbersome to go back and fix it. So
well, that's why I think with too many EV
if you take a little bit of time on the front end to make sure that you've got those things all aligned, it just makes the next part of hitting go and doing more way easier.
Nice.
Again, you learn this after 40 years of building a variety of different things, right? You don't get it right every time, but you try and learn and get better every time you do something new.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah,
Exactly what we want to do.
That's all you
go a little slow and do it right.
Yeah.
Don't just rush to production and say that, oh, we're going to build 4,000 trucks this year.
Yeah.
And realistically, you haven't figured out how to build 40.
Right, and that's the thing. Until you figure out how you plan to move them from, like, how your production is going to flow, how your parts are going to flow, how your labor is going to be assigned to all those, like, the different stages through the process, and what you can actually physically churn out in the space that you have with how you have everything laid out, you don't know how many you're going to build. Well, you can say, it's easy to say 4,000, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
You can have any goal, but if you don't actually have a way that you're going to achieve it, it's not really a goal.
But
Like,
it's dreaming.
yeah, and it's good to dream. Don't not dream. Just because, if you want to do 4,000, all you have to do is figure out, how do we do 4,000?
See, we want to do 5, 6 next year, and we realize that the space we have, exactly what you said, the space we have, we're going to need everything pre-built so that our guys can focus on just bolting parts on. And there's still going to be relatively rougher prototypes.
Yep.
But it's going to take a lot of all the cross members and rails, and if we can have like the fenders, somebody that has can do aluminum welding, can weld out all the fenders, weld out, cut out, CNC out the hood panels that go in there, and that would allow us to actually build 5 next year, because then we just get the part, we bolt it onto the truck, and if the parts don't come in certain order, it's not the worst thing. You can set a part here, set a part over there. As long as the parts are coming in and the guys stay busy bolting things on.
And I mean, that's the nice thing. Like, if we had a set of drawings for you, we could break the package up into, like, based on your production needs, and then, sort of build you a kit and then have it done. That's how this is being built. These are giant kits going down to Texas. There's 5 sets of enclosures with individually wrapped parts for each one that go down. Right, so they're all built, kitted together, put on a truck, and then sent down, wrapped up, labeled. I think we have some outside that are. I say this before I've checked. But outside, they usually have like a set ready to go. Yeah.
Oh, there's a whole trailer ready to go here.
There's all of the material that's ready for the next shipment, labeled, which unit they're working on, what module it is, everything like that, and then away it'll go down
there.
to, in a nutshell, that's TYCROP Trailers and other things.
Well, thanks for showing us everything. We learned a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you for making the trip. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we really enjoy having folks come out here and take a tour of the facility, get to meet us, get to meet the team, see who we are, because it's more than just building trailers. It's the whole. You have to like the people that you're in business with too.
That beer?
Swag, but
It's water. Nice.
it says
So we've got,
It's Pilsner.
so we partnered with the Farmhouse Brewing just down the street. A good friend of mine owns the company, and we were looking at trying to do something unique or different for our customers. So we thought, you know what? I've been to a ton of trade shows. I've gotten the pens and the lanyards and the magnets. Never gotten beer. So I'd like to think that we were the first company that came up with beer. And then on the back, to follow with the branding, Great things are handcrafted in aluminum.
Great things are
It's awesome.
Isn't that the best
So there we
merch
go.
you've ever seen?
So I'm sending you fine folks home with a flat of our beer to share with your friends.
Thank you very much.
You know, right? So
love that.
I was gonna say, so while you're kicking around some great ideas, you know, you can get the thinking juice going and come up with how we can help you build your trucks next year.
Awesome. Hey, thanks.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming out there.
You bet.